Welcome back to the show. We have a couple individuals here that have never been on our show, which is quite unusual because anybody that's, in town, usually we've talked to them. And these gentlemen here are going to be talking about the YMCA possibilities that are coming to Harrison, Arkansas. And I want to introduce the show, Brad Toft and Neil Elliot. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Is it about a year ago that this all came to the point where you built a committee?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. We were approached probably a year and a half ago by really the mayor's office about the potential of bringing the Y to Harrison. And the nice thing about working in the national organization like the Y is that we have a process that we follow in terms of developing a Y. And the committee, which is led by Neil, has really taken the steps that have built on each other to get us where we're at today.
Okay.
Exciting.
When I was a kid, we had a YMCA in our town, and it had everything. Of course, when I think of YMCA, I think of a big old pool,
right?
An indoor pool, and but that's not how you go about the process of finding out what's the need of the community, right?
Exactly. Most people do consider the Y a building.
Yeah.
That is an important part of our work, but the reality is that the Y is really a 501c3 community service organization that is really committed to helping the people in the community become better. And we do that through our programs and services that really, a Y is really compelled to solve community needs. We look for gaps, and then we respond to those gaps through programs or the use of our facility. The Y builds on itself and is progressive. When we begin a Y, we really need to know if the community is going to demonstrate support for the Y, if they're going to get behind it, if they can have leadership that supports it. And it builds on each other. At this point, we are trying to have a successful founders campaign, is what we call it, which is really startup capital for the Y to sustain it for the first 3 years. After those 3 years, the Y, in theory, should be self-sufficient. And that is where we're right in the middle of that. We've raised, I think, $220,000 from the community, led by Neil and his volunteers on the Founders Committee. And once we hit that $400,000, we will charter a Y and begin operation.
Wow. Awesome.
And how do you deal with programs that are already in place here?
Yeah.
Do you try to bump them out or
work with them?
Work with them or avoid?
Our main goal is to help the community become better. And we don't want to compete with anybody. We don't want to take over anything. What we want to do is work to enhance the things that are going on and not duplicate services. We did a feasibility study here a year and a half ago when we came, and the needs really were evident that there's a need for what we call active older adults programming, which is for the aging population. There's a tremendous need for family activities. The church community here does a great job serving families, but beyond that, there's limited things that families can do together. We know there's a strong need for community wellness type of activities, before and after school child care and those kind of things. But yeah, we wouldn't want to compete. We want to enhance what's going on and really do what's right for this community.
Well, how's that going? How's that process going from day one to where you're at now? You're just still in the feasibility phase, or?
Well, the process that we follow really, as a community goes through, they demonstrate that they have passed tests, in a sense. That the feasibility study was a test, and the community has passed that. Organizing a great group of volunteers like we have here, because it's a locally run thing.
Right.
That was a test. And then the final test is really to see if the community will invest in the development of Y. So we've covered a lot of ground. We've done a very good job, and we're just now in the fundraising stage to reach our goal.
Now, Neil, you're with the volunteer aspect of it and the founding of it, and tell us a little bit about that.
Well, our job primarily is to make connections throughout the community to find out who would be willing to help support the building of a YMCA or the startup of a YMCA. So our Founders Committee has worked very hard going around to businesses and individuals throughout the community and explaining the concept of the Y and how the Y can benefit the community, and then asking those folks to pledge support towards that goal that we're working on. And it's going very well, and we've got a ways to go yet, but our committee is continuing to work hard to try to reach that goal.
And you mentioned that you want to be sustainable for a 3-year period. Then how is it funded after that?
Yeah, really through Ys tend to have funding in 3 different ways. One would be membership dues. When they come and join the Y, that represents a big chunk of our revenue. Program fees, when someone signs a child up for swimming lessons or arts or other programs that we do. And then we do an annual campaign every year. One of the things that's important for people to realize is that we're proud to say that we turn no one away due to inability to pay. Our association is an $11 million operation, and we gave away about $1.3 million worth of services. And that local annual fundraising helps us provide local financial assistance for people that need it.
And will there be grants available for this as well, or not?
We do an exhaustive search in terms of opportunities related to grants. We do know that the most successful and the most strongest way to raise funds is for peers to sit across the table from a peer and ask them to support this.
Right.
And that's where we have such a great group of volunteers. They have done what the system and the process has asked them to do. And that's exciting because a lot of times volunteers don't do the steps that they need to. And so our group here is highly committed and leading this charge.
Wonderful.
Is there another YMCA in this area that kind of mirrors what you want to do, that you could talk about the successes of that other
Yeah, you know, our association is based out of Springfield, and 10 years ago we had Ys in Springfield. From that time, the communities of Bolivar, Missouri, Monette, Lebanon, Cassville, and Buffalo have gone through this process. And really the Ys in those communities are what the community wants. And we have Ys in partnership with a city where we occupy a city-owned facility. We have Ys that we have built and that are not tied specifically to a city-owned facility. They vary, and it really varies dependent upon the level of community support.
So our community may not mirror another community.
Correct.
You know.
Yeah, we operate under the philosophical base that the people in Harrison know what the needs are in Harrison, and they have the obligation to provide for those needs.
Yeah.
Right.
In that it isn't the office in Springfield telling Harrison, you need to do this.
Yeah.
And that's important because it is a locally owned and operated operation.
Yeah. Well, what do you need our viewers to do? I mean, do you need more foundation members, or?
That right now it's getting the pledges, and the pledges are paid over a 3-year period, and we need to raise about $180,000 more before we can begin Y operations. Once we hit that, we have a location that we are going to be at when we start. It's the old Dollar General store, and we'll turn that into a Y. We'll hire the local staff and get moving forward.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, the information's on the screen throughout the interview, and there's more information at the end of the show if you want to contact either one of you guys about maybe more volunteers.
Absolutely.
Okay. If you've got some time on your hand, would like to commit your time to the YMCA or the possibility of having one here. You've been here a year, so I'm sure it sounds like good progress.
Absolutely.
Just call one, either Brad or Neil. Do we have your number, or you? Now you're out of Springfield, right?
Correct.
Now, would we call you?
Call my office.
Okay.
And
all right.
That way it's one centralized point,
Right.
and
Okay.
we can take it from there.
We'll do that.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys, for
Wonderful.
being here,
Thank
and
you.
extreme good luck. And I know there's always a hole somewhere in the community. It's nice to have someone to recognize that and come in and fulfill that dream of somebody's.
Absolutely. You have a great community.
Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
very much for being
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, who's up next? Our tree people?
We have Mike Parkinson and Carla Axel with the Crooked Creek Conservation District. Stay with us.